Greetings, it's Susie Juravich here. What do you know about automatic writing? And have you ever heard of Akashic Records? And have you ever had an experience where something comes up that's different? And what about the Apache runners? And the next one is we're going to be working with what happened with the German prison camps in South Scottsdale. So these are the things we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to see if we can get some more guidance through the automatic writing. But first, we're going to give you a little bit of the scoop. All right, so right now, a couple years ago, I was on an online lecture with the Apache runners. I was super excited to get more guidance about that. I learned that they could go up to 70 miles a day. And so, also, purpose of the Apache runners is to get vital information for the tribe and looking at what the food might be or what they could bring in for the food, and also the threats that they may be receiving with the tribe or any ceremonies. So these are really cool ways of looking at the Apache runners. There's so much more to it. I think some of the Apache runners were also in the Olympics. They didn't really have all the gear that they needed, but they still thrived and they were fast, fast, fast. Okay. All right. So the next thing that showed up all of a sudden, I was getting a little bit ungrounded and I was still listening to the video, but something wasn't happening for me. It was like, I'm just not getting it. Something else is coming through. And that's when the German prison camp started kind of flowing into my consciousness. All of a sudden, while I was so excited about the Apache runners, something else was coming through, and it was the German prison camps. So, so then I had to like kind of question it, like, well, how did that happen, and how do I know, and what's going on with that? When I wanted to listen to the Apache runners lecture, what are these questions? So many questions. It's like what do I need to do? What do I need to create that experience with the German prison camps? It's wild. So as it turned out, I did a little bit of background with Scottsdale and learning that there were some prison camps here, and so those German prison camps were actually where I live. I just discerned and learned that this is where the prison camps were. So it was a house. The houses were built in the 60s, and they're all kind of like funky little houses, and that's where I live. And that's pretty interesting. And then I was like going, maybe I should go deeper with it. And so I was asking myself, what can I do now to get more guidance about the German prison camps? You know, so then I found out that I could go to the Elks Lodge. And the Elks Lodge, when they go in, it's like right across. I could walk there like in maybe 8 minutes to go to the Elks Lodge. Then I went in there, and all of a sudden I learned that there were a bunch of clippings from the newspaper from like 1943, and some that were maybe the 70s. There were some of those clippings there. And so it really talked a little bit about these were officers too. They were German officers, and they were in a submarine, and they came here as a prison camp. What I found later too, because it's so wild when you're kind of thinking about prison camps and what's happening with that, and how did they, like, where were they in the submarine, and how did they get to Scottsdale? I don't even know those answers, but I kept kind of looking at it, and then I started noticing there was kind of like a blueprint of what the prison camp looked like, and they had a nice hospital. They had places. They weren't like in like cells or anything. They were just like it's like just walking around. They were all officers there, and apparently, from reading some of the clips from the newspaper, they eventually said, probably back in the 70s, that they were treated so well. And some of those prisoners that were there brought their family back so to show them where they were at. It's really fascinating. But they did feel okay, being there. Of course, they wanted to be with their family, but that's what was going on. We also found later with the German prison camp that there was a group of them, maybe 15 or 17, that were digging down underneath the earth, and they were going in to try to do an escape. And they actually did it, but when they finally got back up to surface, is that they found that there's a canal. So I'm in the back of where the canal is, but they found that there was no water. It's Arizona, so sometimes there's no water. and then they were caught again. Eventually, they were all caught, but they all got came back into the prison camp. But it was interesting when they brought their family home. I was like, well, that's so strange and weird and so amazing. But the Elks Lodge really gave us a lot of clues about the conditions for the prisoners, and they were, I believe, treated well. And of course, they brought their families and to show them where they were at those many years ago. So these are really kind of interesting states of consciousness that we work with, and so we're really working with what is automatic writing and also moving into the Akashic records. But when we're starting to look at the Apache runners, that was the first thing that we brought up. Then we moved into the German prison camps here in Scottsdale. We could go into a little bit of a meditative state and see if we can get some guidance through the automatic writing. Instead of having to kind of question things and look at what's right or wrong, we find more states of consciousness. So most of my automatic writing is very deep, it's very esoteric, and it's not the way that I speak. It's totally different. But what I'm really encouraging you with anything that you're creating that is a little confusion, a little bit different, is that automatic writing can give you more insights and more universal truths about what's really happening. Sometimes the things on the surface are not exactly 100%, but when we go deeper, deeper, deeper into automatic writing and just taking a moment to just reflect on a few things that maybe you want to work with. When I do automatic writing, I just go. I go and I go and flow. And so automatic writing helps us find better experiences with life, like even with the Apache runners or maybe with, these different prison camps and things, that there's all these different underpinnings through written material that is innate, and it's amazing that these automatic written pieces will give us more guidance, especially with some of the things I've been working with and learning up here in Arizona. And so I really want to share that with you, that automatic writing is really helping so many people get different guidance. Sometimes we're looking like I said, at the surface or the superficial quality of looking at things, and then you go deeper, 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 in the innate intelligence that you are is working for you to get more guidance, get more experience with life in a more rich and more illuminated way. So I think that's it for now. This was really a fun conversation to share, and I really, really encourage you to look at automatic writing. I'm creating a course right now with automatic writing, and definitely at some point I'll do another YouTube video related to that specifically. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and have a great day, and namaste.